Attention. Welcome to the Different Spectrums podcast. We dive into the wild world of mental health discussions. Get ready for profound talks, a sprinkle of humor and sarcasm, and a touch of colorful language. Just a quick heads up, our show reflects our individual opinions, which may not align with the standpoint of the podcast, our featured guests, or any related corporate entities. Our mission? To illuminate through laughter and satire because everyone needs a good chuckle. Chill out and don't stress over the small stuff. Legal troubles? No, thank you. Cancel culture? Please spare us. We'd rather keep this space lawsuit free. So buckle up, have a good time, and join us as we navigate the vibrant realm of mental health on the Different Spectrums podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. By using our link, you can get 10% off your first month of therapy. So, Naz, as a therapist on BetterHelp, what has your experience been like?
I've been doing it since January of 2021, and it's been really fun and exciting. I've been able to reach clients all over the United States and the world. I've had good relationships. I've had folks that I've had for a couple months and a good handful where I've had for almost 2 years now. So it's magnificent. I've enjoyed my time and my clients. I love them.
Awesome. You can do it all from your phone or computer via phone call, video chat, or messaging, however you feel the most comfortable. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you, all from the comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/DSP or choose Different Spectrums podcast during sign up and enjoy a special discount on your first month. You good? You good. Hey, everybody, we back again.
Hey, we're back, and I'm recording the podcast this time, so we're good.
Well, recording your audio. I'm Spencer. Of course, we have our licensed clinical therapist, Nas.
Therapist, people, not fucking editor, not full blown, audio executive director, technician,
True. All you had to do was click a button, but hey, whatever. It's fine. Hey, remember, don't take us too seriously.
Or do. It's completely up to you.
There you go. Also, don't forget to run up those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it. So, before we get into it, we have a special guest. He is a licensed clinical psychologist and the owner of PsychWorks Clinic LLC. He is also the current president of the Cincinnati chapter of the Association of Black Psychologists.
Oh, wow.
He also specializes in African American cultured issues and has experience treating various issues, including ADHD, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, social awkwardness, and developmental life stress. Please welcome Dr. Ritch Hall to the show.
Hello, hello. So glad to be here.
Hello.
Yeah, great to have you. Great to have you. So, today we are going to be talking about Creed 3.
Mhm.
Great film. The first film directed by Michael B. Jordan.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. First one is an amazing hit. So keep it going, Michael B. Jordan. Keep it going. Some things that we're going to be talking about are masculinity, group homes, and what that dynamic is and how that could really affect anyone kind of going through the system. Past traumas, and then also how men don't open up and how that can really affect you and your life kind of overall. But yeah, Naz, anything before we get into the show?
So instead of doing a story or funniness, I actually wanted to stick on that Michael B. Jordan thing real quick. So
Yes.
I thought this was his first one. And I don't know about you, this is just opinion stuff now and not clinical stuff. I actually really, at first, I'm not going to lie, I actually didn't like that he was, stripping out, Homeboy from it, Stallone from it. I was like, I want him to be in it. I want Rocky to be in it, I was like, I don't know if I like this. I felt that old man in me,
Yeah.
Rocky's supposed to be in there, the white
Old
guy.
man shouts at cloud.
And then yes, and then you watch it and you're like, this is magnificent. We're touching on some stuff that we probably should have been touching on a long time ago. I love that we've got these two black characters, but also a lot of stuff that's like really real, and all of them have been really real. You got cancer, death, loss, right? Relationship, lots of stuff. but the cinematography is a little bit different. The music is a little bit different. It's a different vibe, right? You can taste it. It's just a little bit different type of like texture and seasoning. And I personally, after watching, was like, holy shit.
One
Mhm.
thing
Go
also
ahead.
to say with this is that Michael B. Jordan made it very clear that he was referencing a lot of anime in this
Yes.
movie. And you can
Oh,
see it in the
okay.
cinematography as
Hmm.
well as the story. And I just kind of want to shout out those animes real quick.
Go ahead.
One is called Hajime no Ippo, which is like a boxing anime.
Okay.
Hmm.
Megalobox, another boxing one. Naruto, My Hero Academia, and then
Hmm.
Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
Um, and so he said from the beginning, he was like, I love anime. I watch it all the time. And so he
Hmm.
incorporated a lot of those scenes, not just the boxing, mostly boxing and like the combat ones, but I think a lot of the storytelling inside of those boxing scenes as well.
Okay.
That kind of inner dialogue happening while something
Hmm.
is going on. And so it came out amazing.
Maybe that's
Like
why I loved it so much.
it could have been. It could have been. So
Yeah.
just want to shout that out.
Did you feel the same way? It just felt, I don't know, richer. I don't want to put shade on all the other Creeds and Rockies,
Yeah,
but
no,
this
no.
just had a,
Yeah, so I felt like Michael B. Jordan did something in directing it that hadn't been done in any of the previous. Like as the guy who's getting punched in the things, because I remember an anecdote from the first Creed where Ryan Coogler brought Stallone in and is like, "Why are the fights not quite hitting?" And Stallone was like, "Oh, you got to actually hit each other." That's the difference. You can't be stage boxing. You gotta
Yeah.
if you want that visceral feel, you got to get punched. And I remember seeing like one of a TikTok of Michael B. Jordan actually taking one of the punches that knock him
I
down.
think I remember
And
that.
so, yeah, and it was, when you think about that as a dude who's just an actor, right? He's just a guy who was sitting on the couch on the wire, and now he's getting punched in the face for his craft. I thought, okay, he brought that to this production, right? As the director, he's saying, okay, I want to tell you a little bit of what it is to be in the ring and use these sort of anime tropes to tell you sort of stylistically what it's like to be kind of trying to do the chess match that is boxing as opposed to just two guys taking haymakers at each other. It's I'm in there doing a type of calculus, right? This is and then to even evoke it be a checkmate, he's kind of saying no, these two guys are sizing each other up, they're working each other down, and it's not just swinging at each other. So I think, yeah, in being the director, he brought a little bit of what it's like to be the actor, to be the boxer to it, I think. And that was the attitude that I had about it as I watched it
Yep.
for even the third time, I think, to do this. I was like, wait, he's bringing some stuff to
Some
Yeah.
this that
stuff.
maybe is a point of view that wasn't brought by some of the other directors because they weren't the person in the ring getting punched.
I also want to say something. I was watching this. What's that HBO show with all the girls, the black women, and Issa Rae and all that? What was that one show called? Insecure.
Insecure.
So
Mm-hmm.
they were talking about the lighting too, and how they show black folks, and when it
Yep.
comes to cinematography, I feel like there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of cinematography on here that's very poignant for a reason. And it's
Yes.
very deep and passionate. All the scenes where there's a lot of trauma coming out or connection. The
Mm-hmm.
lighting is vastly different from the previous movies in lighting, and this is something that I just
Yes.
noticed.
Yeah, no, definitely using transitioning the use of color, particularly in those scenes, to use it to convey emotions. We watched the scene where he goes full art student and like as opposed to regular Rocky, which is grounded in a very hyper realism, he's like,
Yep.
nah, we're gonna step away from that and actually essentially use the boxing ring to evoke their inner worlds in a way, right?
Loved it.
That's the way I saw it. And it was once again, I felt like it was definitely a first time director move. It's not something that a more seasoned director might do
Yep.
unless they're like really avant-garde and they just do weird stuff anyway. But for a Rocky movie, that's very different. That we're suddenly
Different.
like we're playing with the lighting. They're literally growling at each other like animals. They're knocking each other into bars. I remember seeing it in the theaters and going, "Wait, he just stepped out of. This is not Rocky. This is him doing his own thing. He's putting his own stamp on
Loved
this."
it. Loved it.
Right.
Loved it. Loved it.
Yeah. Shout out to Ryan Coogler, who, first of
Mm-hmm.
all, amazing director.
Absolutely.
Everything he does, fantastic. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then also shout out to Stallone, because without him,
Right.
we
We
wouldn't
wouldn't
get
have
these
any of this.
stories, these characters, right?
Right.
And it's unfortunate that he doesn't have the rights to Rocky,
Ah,
and they stole that from him.
Yep.
Hollywood, baby. It's
I know,
Hollywood.
I know. And he can't do anything about it. So,
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
big shout
I
out
mean,
to all those.
that definitely goes towards the like, what's the commodification of art, right? Araki was a very personal story to him, but in order to get it made, he had to sign it off to some people who had money and want to continue to make money off the bones of this franchise for as long as they can, and they don't have to ask him his opinion about that. They're just going to keep that ship's going to keep sailing because
I can't imagine.
The machine needs IP. You got to keep feeding IP. Otherwise, what will capitalism do without the IP?
I'm trying to tell you, it's just sad to think about, Spence. I forgot about that. To have your baby stolen from you, that'd be like to have your actual child or your dissertation or your, our podcast. The other day I had to sign something and I can't state what it is. I had to sign something. I freaked out. I was like, did I just sign away the podcast? What did I just fucking do? All right. I was like, was this spam?
Let's hope not.
Can we talk about this? I have no idea what you're talking about.
We did. We talked about it a while ago. Something really stupid. Yeah. Something really stupid. I can't mention what it is because that's the agreement.
Not on air. You can talk about it offline.
Yeah,
feel free to review.
So, I'm glad that we're talking about that. I wanted to put some respect on this, and I really loved it. And people paid and saw it.
Yes, it did pretty well.
Let's have.
It was only $75 million to make. So in terms of how much a movie costs these days, it was made pretty cheaply.
Yeah. So,
and it delivered.
Let's get into it and break down some stuff and interview you. Let's have some fun. Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Let's do it.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. Am I supposed to also do that?
There you go.
I'm over here, Mo. I thought that's just a you guy thing. I was gonna let you have it.
Nope.
Whoop whoop.
You gotta get there for me, Rocky. Get there.
Did you sleep okay? You were grunting your teeth. How's the rest of last night?
It was good.
Yeah?
Just catching up.
Hey, why didn't you ever tell me about the group home?
There wasn't a lot to say.
How old were you?
I was around the Mars age.
You don't want to talk about it? It's okay.
No.
It's okay.
Nah, it's Dame. He asked me to fight Felix.
For real?
Yeah, heavyweight champion of the world. And he wants a shot.
So what'd you say?
Said no. It was impossible, People wait their whole lives for a shot like that, and he's not even a pro.
Yeah. Why does it look like you're still considering it?
Hey, Ma.
How's Felix?
You still at the hospital? He's stable. I figured I'd get out of there and give him some space.
Mm-hmm. Maybe smart.
What's all this?
They're from Damien.
You kept these from me?
To help you move on? Yes, I did.
Mom, how could you?
I was trying to protect you.
Protect me from what? Damien was my brother.
No, Donnie. Not in that facility where you were caged like an animal. Did you think that I was going to let you go back to that?
You made him think I abandoned him. Do you know what we went through?
I know who that man was the two of you beat up.
You know Leon? Yeah. Then you know Damien had my back before you even knew who I was. Dame treated me more like family than your two kids ever did in this house. And you took that away from me. None of this would have happened if it wasn't for you.
You're absolutely right. None of it. You hit hard, Donnie. and you can't see. There may have been a time when Damien had your back, but that's not what he's doing now.
Rubbing on me, ayy. I'm in the back.
Yo, Dad.
I got a fat sack.
Hey, man.
You
Get
want
your hands
that
off me.
back.
Get
You
your
can't
hands
have
off me.
that. Drinking cognac.
Hold up.
She
Say, cool out, bro. Come here. That's what we on?
What's up, Donnie? You all right? You look tardy, bro.
Hey, man, no, you tell me, bro. You been playing me this whole time.
Guess you did get them letters, huh?
Why'd you lie to me? I vouched for you. I brought you into my home, bro. You met my family. I put money up for you. Put the gloves on your hands like you asked.
That's enough, Jolie. you put the gloves on my hands? Oh, homie. You must be punchy. Because if memory serves, you used to carry my gloves.
Get your shit and get out the gym.
Oh, Donnie, hold up. Wait. You think I need you? No, when I got locked up, I needed you. When I came home, yeah, bro, I needed you. But look around, bro. I'm the champ! And I don't need you for nothing or nothing. Who alone now? Yeah, that's right. Run away. Run away. That's the one thing you're still good at, baby Creed.
What was that?
Oh,
What'd you call me?
oh, you mad? You mad? Try spending half your life in the cell watching somebody else live your life. You're turning your back on me, homie. Hey, but look, don't trip. Hey, come here. You remember this? This title? All this? Hey, I'm just getting started, little brother. I'm coming for it all.
And what's that supposed to mean? Are you threatening me?
Hey, no threats here, bro. Just promises here, homie. Come here, let me see.
Get your hands off me.
Oh, you all right? You. Help yourself up for once. See how it feels. Aloha.
Where were you all night? You didn't get any of my calls then, this morning? What happened to your eye?
Nothing.
Are you okay?
Not today. I ain't got time for a therapy session.
Okay, well then what do you have time for? Let me know. Because I've been trying to talk to you for a really long time, Donnie. All right? Please, can you tell me what is going on? Is it me?
No. It's nothing to do with you.
Is it about Leon?
What? I told you that.
Dame? Is there something else you want to tell me? Dee, you have got to open up at some point. I don't know what else to tell you. I need to understand what is
What you want to
going
hear?
on.
Some sad story? You trying to feel sorry for me or
No,
something?
I don't want to feel sorry for you. I want to understand you. I want to know what is going on
There's
with
nothing
you
to
in
talk
my house.
about. I don't want to talk about anything. I've been trying to forget it. It's dead. Leave it. Let it lie. I'm talking about that shit no more.
You figure out your shit, D. Because what cannot happen is her seeing you like this. Do you understand?
I'm sorry.
I know. It's okay.
No, it's not. It's just when Dame came back, all this shit came back too. I didn't know how to handle it. But you're always really good at that. Feelings. It comes easy to you.
It doesn't come easy to me. It doesn't. I still got a lot of stuff that I'm trying to figure out. And I don't always know how to talk about it either. You know, Marianne was the closest thing I've had to a mom in a really long time. I could talk to her. Now she's gone. And when I stopped performing, it was really hard to accept that my dreams didn't turn out the way that I imagined that they would. And that still hurts me. A lot. But I just made a choice to try to move on and be happy about what I do have. But it's not easy. I just try.
Leon was the dad at the group home where I live with Dame. I'm not saying me and Dame were angels. Okay? But no kid deserves to get beat on like we did. You feel me? That night at the liquor store, I saw Leon. And I snapped. I hit him. I kept hitting him. And his boys jumped on me. So Dame pulled a gun. Cops pulled up. We tried to run. Dame got caught. I got away. I ran.
You were a kid. You were scared anybody would have run. And Dame had a gun, Adonis. That's not on you.
Yeah, but when he went down, I didn't reach out. I never called. I didn't write. After a while, it felt easier to pretend. Like I forgot. You know, just act like it never happened.
It was that doesn't make you responsible for how his life turned out. You are a good man, Adonis.
I don't know anymore.
You have got to try to forgive yourself so that you can begin to believe that you deserve the life that you have earned. Because you do. Don't let him destroy everything you've built.
But he's not gonna stop.
Then you make him.
There's only one way that Dam's gonna listen.
If that's what you gotta do, then all right.
Tremendous blows. That was better. Stay focused. You take him where you want to go. Keep punching through. Prepare for these rounds. Ready for anything. Door is open. Can't last in there with you.
This fight feels dead even. You can feel the tension. This is history spilling into the ring. What an emotionally draining war here in Los Angeles.
Listen. You out there boxing. I need you to start fighting.
Go out there and do what we came to do. It's your time, champ. It's your time to shine.
Let go of the fear. You hear me? Let go of the guilt. Let go of it, dog. Let go of whatever was and walk into what is. Go out there and be ferocious, you hear me? Be ferocious. Go out there, be Adonis Creed.
And we're off in round 12. Be in the hall, champ.
Guess you did learn a few moves without me. Damn, I'm sorry. All those years, never checked up on you. That's on me. We were just kids, bro. It ain't on you. None of it. Never was. It did. It wasn't on you either. All right, go ahead then, man. Family and everybody waiting on you. Champ. You know where to find me if you need me.
Hey everyone, before we get into the show, please check out our collaborator, Bubs Naturals. They sell a variety of health and wellness products, including collagen peptides, MCT oil powder, coffee, apple cider vinegar gummies, and other amazing products. Go to bubsnaturals.com and use our code DSP20 to get 20% off your entire order. And with that, let's get into the show.
And we're back again.
Hey, we're back.
Hey.
And we're live. Live with a black trauma and a trauma just in general. So let's fucking get into this. This is a serious pod.
Yes, it is. So before we get into the movie itself, Rich, good to have you on the show.
Good to be here.
Get to, a little bit about you, right? So kind of want to know, how did you get into therapy? How'd you do that? I mean, it's we talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
Very small amount of Black men are therapists.
Yes.
So how did you get into it?
When I was a young lad, literally in like middle school or junior high, somebody said you could have everybody told me I was a good listener, and they said you should be a therapist. And then I learned that a therapist gets to set their own hours and has an office with a plant and a couch. And I was like, that sounds like a good career path. And so I went to college and then bumbled around for a while because I went to public school. And it took a while to adjust to the rigors of the institution. Finally graduated and then went and worked for a while. And then said, no, I really got to do this PhD thing. And then went back to school and hung out there for a very long time. And then finally they released me and said I was allowed to be a psychologist. So it was a very long road of fighting the institution and my own ego to become this thing that I was determined to be in spite of all the roadblocks. Okay. And so I do understand when we talk about why there are so few of us that become therapists and psychologists. It's because there are many roadblocks, like just financial roadblocks, interpersonal, the system's not built for you, cultural roadblocks, having to sort of constantly every day just maneuver through microaggressions by people who call themselves culturally sensitive. Those are just definite challenges to the pathway of becoming therapist. And then finally, one day, you unlock the right key on the right lock, and you're like, oh, okay, now you're fine. Go out there and do work and don't mess up.
Well,
am I telling your story, Nas?
Yeah, no. There's a lot of Rebeccas that get in the way of this.
Rebecca.
Yes, quite a few.
Yeah, quite a few, and that's coming from someone that's almost been kicked out of school, right? It's
Hey, I know that story. A little close to mine.
Been interesting.
You had that big staff meeting where they were all sitting around you saying, "Oh, so what happened, and why should we keep you?"
Oh, and then also it's before we kick you out, we're gonna give you one more shot, and we're gonna place you with this strong woman. And they kept saying
absolutely.
strong, and guess who that strong woman was? Oh, it was a black woman. So I'm like, okay, so this is kind of racist too. And then she ends up saying I'm the best fucking intern she's ever had in her entire 30-year career.
Yep.
So what was wrong with the other therapist that kicked me out that was white?
Yeah.
And then I can get into more detail too on how I tried to transition to a Latina that was working with me, and then I got in trouble for transitioning by myself to the Latina because I was trying to get taught. Well, whatever. So there's a lot of things that get in the way.
The audacity of trying to navigate the system as best you could. No, we seem to have parallel stories, but that's probably another show.
Audacity. And I just want to pay respect and tribute real quick to you. I'm glad that you made it.
Yeah.
Earlier I was serious on it's really hard to get black and brown males on the pod because there's very few of us.
Yeah.
And, it's hard to be vulnerable and talk about things like that. So just appreciated that you fucking made it.
Hey, I appreciate it.
And then you made it. And you don't even have to talk with some of your clients because just you existing allows them to heal. You know this already.
Yes. No, there's many times where I just say out loud the thing they've been feeling. Like, right? Like, no, the white people around you are kind of crazy. And they go, yes, thank you. But they can't say it. So
no.
I'm gonna give voice to that.
I love it, man. I love it. Back to Spence.
Yeah. Kind of going off of that, do you have any advice for people that are on the fence about being a therapist as a black or brown individual? Can you give us some advice for them that are out there listening?
I would say you are so necessary, right? Because there are so few of us, because the field is pretty wide open. One, there is a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of need. And I know it's difficult. And like I said, I know it's a difficult road. There are a lot of barriers, but it ends up being very fulfilling because of how necessary you are. And because very often you'll be the first time someone sat across from a person that looks like them and validates their experience. And so there are very few jobs that can give you that level of connection and validation that I found. But like I said, I also locked into a career path for 20 years and didn't change my mind. So it takes determination. I often tell people, do you really want to be a doctor? Like, you got to really want to be a doctor, because there will be people in the way saying, I don't know if you fit my idea of doctor. And you're like, what does that matter? I'm going to get in your way if you don't fall in line. And you're like, oh, okay. let me figure out how to do that tap dance. But there is a significant value, and I spend a lot of my it's free time trying to help as many. I've got 4 mentees. I do a lot of work trying to help people. How do we figure out how to get you to the other side of this? Because I know I wouldn't be here if it weren't for literally 4 doctors I can name right now who really helped me become who I am. I know that people need to see people like me. They need to be able to access people like me, and sometimes we need to tell them what's around the corner, because there's stuff you're not going to see coming. And I hope to remove that if I can, or not. If not remove it, sometimes I ain't got the power. There's a system at play. How can I help you get over it, around it, under it, whatever it takes
to make it, to win? Period.
Right.
To me, I just go simple as my father teaches me. I'm going to teach you to win.
Yep.
And well, Dad, I don't know about these methods, but you're going to win, and you're going to make it, and they will call you doctor. I said, okay, I'll sign the contract, then let's do it.
Yep. There you go.
I'll sign the contract, and so I tell my clients that we're going to make it. And some of the shit I'm going to tell you can't leave this office, but we're going to make it. Don't tell this shit to no one else. Just between me and you.
The office is Vegas. Whatever said in here stays in here.
Yep. And they'd be like, Nas, how do you know things like this? Well, I've lived a life, and I love the people that were in my life, but they've also lived lives. It's an interesting time. Again, I'm just so excited. I didn't know you was bringing all this stuff with you today.
Hey, we just met, and now you know.
Now you know. Now you know.
No, it's fantastic, honestly. It really is to have this openness and then just honestly, like we said in the pre-production, just, you know, getting black and brown individuals in to even come on here and talk. It's been a little tough, but at the
Yeah,
same time, it's so great to have, you know, someone like yourself come on to the show and just give that perspective and how it's a hard road, but it's worth it.
yeah, and possible. It's often
Yeah.
gets ignored that it is a possible role. And like I said, I can understand. Like we're going to talk about it when we talk about the movie, but like vulnerability for black men is very difficult. Like there is I often tell the men that I work with, like particularly ones that have made it higher up on the hierarchy, like the higher you are, the further that feels like to fall. So if I disclose who I really am, or take off the mask, or really be myself in the world, will I not get found out to be other? Right? Like in America, if I'm way too other, like America will be like, nope, we flatly reject you out of hand. You're too far off of what I envision this identity to be. And so I can understand why it's kind of difficult for some to expose themselves, or there's just that fear of what happens if I let too much out.
Right.
Preach.
Right. I mean, and honestly, I just watched a film called American Fiction, which
Yep.
does a great job of talking
Hmm.
with Jeffrey Wright.
Yep. Jeffrey Wright. Hmm.
Fantastic actor. It's a great film. We're probably going to talk about it at some point. I just watched it like the other day, and it does a great job of talking about that. It's like, what do these white people want?
Right.
And do I sell myself to them, or
Hmm.
do I stick to who I am and it doesn't sell anything? Do
Right.
I be real with
Hmm.
myself and who I am, or do I play into that part that they want?
Right.
The fantastic film. Love it. So
Yes.
many great people in it, and yeah.
Oscar winning film. So it won an
Yes.
Oscar for best adaptation of a screenplay.
Yeah.
And I read the novel and have watched the movie. And definitely, if you need somebody to come and talk about it, I definitely could talk about that for another hour.
Oh shit! Well,
Because
it's
I
yours
loved it.
now, and
Yeah, I know. You just
well,
made
you
it
just
yours,
signed.
so.
We're gonna have to have you sign a contract and an NDA after this. But it's
There we
yours,
go. There we go.
We own.
Don't you talk about that film
Yeah.
anywhere
No,
else.
don't talk about it anywhere else.
Anywhere
No.
else. We yep. We're gonna colonize this shit.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And the white supremacy is at play.
I didn't know I was, but I did.
Hey.
Hey.
You're American. How can you
Don't you-
avoid? It's like corn syrup. It's in everything.
It's in everything.
Every now and again, you're just gonna have a colonizer thought. You're like, I can make money off of this. Oh no, I'm thinking like them.
Oh no,
Capitalism. It got me. It got me.
hey, it is
Right
what
into
it is.
capitalism.
They've been got me,
Yeah. You can't escape it.
No, I'm in it. I was thinking something, man, real quick. Very small story. I was talking to a young man graduating, and he said, I wasn't supposed to be doing this career and this higher ed thing. And we're talking about his life and career. He said, Nas, I need advice. He said, I'm doing fine. We're not doing fair. He said, I just want to sit with you because I love sitting with you.
Nice.
And I said, well, he said, what happens if this or this happens in my life? Some big choices. And I said, let me tell you something, because we're out of time. And, no matter what the fuck you do, you're going to be happy either way. Because I know you are going to make it happen no matter what. That's who you are as a black male in this world. You will make this shit happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, just remember, it's about the people around you. And that's the whole reason why you've changed everything in the last year, is because you've been vulnerable and loved people and opened up around you. So remember what we've did since day one and how quickly you changed, because that's what you do as an athlete as well. Quick, very quick. And he's like, I got you. I said, okay. And then I told him a quick story about me being with other folks of color, which he wants to do and give back to his community. And I said about a letter recently I got from a student. And then a tear dropped out and he looked at me like, holy shit. I said, because this means something. This letter meant something.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And she knew it meant something. And she said, there's one little thing. And I just devastated. And he's like, holy fuck, Nas, that's what I want to do. And I said, you're on your way, kid.
There you go.
If athlete stuff don't work out, you're going to do exactly what we talked about. You're going to be happy either way. You're going to be happy either way. And so when you talked about earlier, you got mentees. I got a lot of mentees, man.
Yeah.
I made a funny thing, Spence. I posted some autism stuff on our story, right? And the one boy comments, am I your autistic son? I said, yep.
Talk about me.
You talking about me, ain't you? And it was, if you want to see something that'll make you cry, dude, on our page today, which is right the 2nd, June 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
It's a story of Winnie the Pooh, and it says a conversation that you have with your autistic child. And my God, the music that they put in, I mean, I literally started crying immediately. Someone sent it to me and I was like, you son of a bitch. Besides the point. So kick it back to you, Spence, for questions.
Yeah. So you are the current president of the Cincinnati chapter
Let's
of
talk about this.
Association of Black Psychologists.
Yes.
Can you talk about that and just what it means to you to be a president of this organization?
So originally I became president because the last guy didn't want to do it anymore because he was dealing with some medical issues
Okay.
in his family. And
Yeah.
he said, does somebody else want to do it? And I remember thinking, well, if I don't do this, will we still have the meetings? And so I
Facts.
genuinely took the job because it was an organization that I relied on throughout my graduate journey. It was, in many ways, like I said, I've got like 4 doctors who helped me become the doctor I am. They were part of the organization. And when I found out they were having meetings, I was like, oh, how do I get to those meetings? And then I just started coming to the meetings, was the student liaison for a while. And then once I had graduated and got my own PhD, I became, like I said, I just kind of walked into the presidency. For me, it's very valuable work because, as I said, it allows me to get out into the community and once again be the face of Black psychology to show people that we're out there, that we're doing things to do education. I've done some like virtual panels and things like that, and so I try to within the organization essentially promote positive psychology, promote Black psychology for African Americans, and let people know that there are conduits to receiving help, to being a part of the field of psychology. It was a lot of making sure there was community for me, but also making sure that the community outside of me knew that this thing existed. And so that's been largely my mission as the president. People always are like, it's always funny. I'm just me. You know what I mean? When people go, oh, you're a president of something. I mean, I'm also just me. It's just a thing I do once a month on a Sunday. We have our meetings, but I do know it's important work, and I don't underestimate the value of it.
Yeah. I'm the captain now.
Look at me. Look at me.
Right here. Right here. Spencer, I just want to let you know, this is the face. I'm a general. The face of Black psychology is right in front of us. This is the face of Black psychology.
Only for Cincinnati. Not for the nation.
No. This is a face
just for Cincinnati.
All of the Americas.
Cincinnati tri-state area.
No,
yep,
all Americas.
No. There's Tabitha Brown still out there. Not Tabitha Brown.
We're just making up names now. Whatever.
No, Tabitha Brown is the one lady I'm thinking of.
Jessica. I remember Jessica. I know her.
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
No, not Rebecca for sure.
You sure? It could be a Dozell situation. You never know.
Yeah. Oh no, Rachel. Subscribe to her OnlyFans. She's got to feed her kids.
Yeah, I heard she's transracial. She said transracial. Yeah. I just wanted to tease you there, man. That's awesome. Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Spencer.
I can't get over that Rachel did that shit. So speaking on like just a larger scale in general, right? Not just not just, whatever. Do you think there can be a change in how the system is for those who want to get into therapy who are Black or brown? Do you think there is a way for the system to change at all?
Absolutely. I think it has been changing. I think, we are in an unprecedented time where if a Black woman wanted to see a therapist, she has a plethora of options that she did not have 20 years ago, right? There are definitely more Black women in the field than ever before, more Black men than ever before, to be honest. But there has been a vast shift in people going into higher ed to get these certifications and degrees to do this work. I mean, there's more of us who are life coaches, and some people agree and disagree, but I'm for any conduit that gets you on the path to mental health. So I know that there is a shift, and we're continuing the work. I think as with work like this, that is revolutionary in its own way, and there are many who talk about like deconstructing therapy and trying to essentially make it more diverse. That takes time. People will be frustrated with that effort because it won't happen fast enough for the need, because the need is immense, right? In this country, what is the biggest provider of mental health care? The jail system. That's what we do with people who need severe help and support. And the majority of people who need a lot of different levels of support, they can only get it through the criminal court system because as a society, we're like, it doesn't make us enough money, so we don't advocate for it, unfortunately. I could spend the entire hour talking about health insurance. So once again, barriers to getting help, but there are a lot of different things that are being done. Like I said, a lot more people in the field, a lot more effort towards mental health. Meg the Stallion had an effort for mental health. Regina King, I think, was it?
Yep.
Regina King?
Yep, she did.
Yep. And then also Taraji P. Henson. So
yep.
While I don't want to necessarily point at the celebrities and say, hey, they're doing the work, they are doing work to promote the visibility of mental health. And so there was a time where you had to choose between people who didn't look like you, and now you do have more options. But there's still a lot more work to be done for sure.
Yeah, we're just pivoting real quick, not pivoting, adding on. You got folks that like Logic that work with like BetterHelp. You got DeMar DeRozan, which is tons of resources, books, podcasts, all devoted to mental health. They're talking about on things like the Pivot, which are tons of athletes being really vulnerable. We've got things like the Kevin Love Fund. No, it's not a Black individual, but we're going to be interviewing with them, and they're going to be on our podcast, the Kevin Love Fund, and hopefully we get Kevin Love to come too.
Hey.
So there's a lot of movement, a lot of money that's being thrown around. I want to do shout out to Milwaukee Bucks MVP, right, Giannis, for donating hundreds of thousands to mental health in the Milwaukee area. So they're trying. Folks are trying to donate and put money and start things, and right. And you talk to some of the actresses; they're actually creating like websites and resources. I think around, and then I'm done after this. I think around 2020 though, during COVID and after all the George Floyd stuff, there's a lot of stuff going out, and there's a lot of Google Docs and resources, and you start to see a lot more things of color.
Yeah.
And I think that was a very pivotal moment in time. Oh my God, there's people out here doing this. And 2020 is when I seen it all. Like everyone,
yeah. Well, we had to share resources because we were all trapped.
Correct.
So suddenly people started, rather than just moving in different directions, why don't we actually talk about what's available? And so, there was a lot more proliferation of different opportunities and there's actual stuff people are doing, and we can share these resources because we have to, because we're facing a huge existential threat.
And I think the reason why I focus so much on athletes, because I work with a lot of athletes, and I think Gabby Douglas coming out with it.
I feel like, yes, I heard about her effort. Yeah.
And then I also feel like, Serena Williams talking about postpartum and depression. I feel like these things, Simone Biles, everyone's like, oh, the twisties, but we're talking about mental health. We're talking about a lot of stuff. We're talking about tennis. And now people are like, holy shit, these people actually go through things, which then only trickles down to everyone else. Because like if they're Black and they're an all-star, they're super masculine, but oh my man, they're depressed and anxious. And then the boys start to see it, and the boys start to see this masculinity, and they're like, wait a minute. So if they're a little broken too, then maybe I can. So seeing it top down sometimes is beneficial. This is the one time where I'm like, the top down works.
There you go.
Trickle down economics and all that shit. Again, good question, Spence. I think things are getting better too, but we got a long fucking ways to go.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Of course. You know what? Let's get into the movie, Creed.
Sure.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Have you been on any other podcasts before?
Me? Oh yeah. So I've done a couple of podcasts. Which ones are escaping me at the moment?
It's fine. Don't worry. I just wondered if you've been on them. Then the second question is were they about mental health? And if they were you with two males talking about mental health or no?
No. So this is my first time with two men talking about mental health. I did one for a dope podcast, it wasn't a mental health podcast, a dope public health podcast.
Okay.
That was with a guy, and we vibed on talking about hip hop.
Okay.
And then I've done a business podcast or two.
Okay.
And then I did one locally here that was it was talking about relationships, and that one was in a bar. And it was kind of wild. So, I've done a few, and I have my own podcast that I go back and remember to edit and record episodes, will probably go live again at some point, but
you're good. I just wanted to pay attention to, this is a very rare space where we got 3 men of color talking about depression, anxiety.
Oh, absolutely.
This ain't going to happen too many times often in America.
Right.
3 of us.
I'm just light skinned.
Yeah.
All right. Don't worry about it. It's just one more hue and I'd be good. But
it's okay. It's okay.
It's all right.
It comes in all shades and colors.
There you go.
You got chocolate in there, Rachel.
Oh my God. Don't you dare call me Rachel. That tanned asshole. All right, here we go.
Oh my God.
All right. So we're talking about Creed 3 here. What made you want to actually do Creed 3 besides like the other 2?
It was the one that was most present in my mind at the time, and I remember when I watched it in theater, like, wait, they're handling some heavy psychological themes. I thought they did pretty well in the first one, but in this one they like tagged him. Like, he needs to talk about his emotions, and if he doesn't, he will explode. Dame is like a mirror of him, right? He's an underdog who needs a chance, and Dame has so much ego, where Adonis ideally has learned throughout his history to open up, to let his wife in, to listen to people like Rocky, like his coach Duke. And so if he goes the way of Dame and focuses on revenge at Dame, he will destroy himself, right? And so it's like, oh, okay, these themes came readily to mind when I thought about the film. So it's like, oh, I could definitely talk about that for an hour in a way. And it literally just came out like, what, a year ago, 2 years ago? So it was still in my head when you said, hey, what movie would you like to do? I remember I was looking through your list. I saw Rocky and I was like, I'd rather do Creed. And then went straight for it.
So what you're saying is you don't like Italians?
No, love Italians. I was at an Italian festival yesterday, enjoyed a nice stromboli, and not to distill the entire culture into really good food.
I know. He's like, they make pizza, hey.
That's it.
Hey,
really?
Be mad
anything else?
Yeah. I can't speak to anything else.
I'm joking, man.
They had a weird policy during the World War II, but otherwise, I mean, they're great.
It's Mussolini. It's fine. It's fine.
Let's pivot.
All right.
Let's pivot.
Let's not talk about the Italians.
Right. And now we're out.
Yeah, now we're out.
Good food.
Yeah. Just keep it to the Italian stallion, please.
The Italian stallion.
Yep.
So, in the first scene, we were talking about how it's brought up that Creed, was actually in a group home.
Yes.
Right? Something that he did not tell his wife. He hasn't told anybody. Very ashamed of that time period, right? And we kind of find out why, really. Not just, just being in a group home, but the things that led up to him being distant to Damien. And
to his wife.
Why'd you pick the scene?
Because I cannot tell you how many men have sat in my office that have a history of trauma that it doesn't come out as the story. It instead comes out as toxicity and dysfunction in their fundamental relationships, where I often joke that the only reason majority of men come to therapy is a woman in their life says, if you don't do something, something's going to change. And so they are left with a choice of try this therapy thing to keep the relationship intact. And they come to me like, if you don't fix this, I don't believe this whole thing works. And so when I saw that scene the first time, when I saw it again, last night when I rewatched, it was like, oh no, this is still, these are my clients, these men with anger inside who've been drinking it away, trying to fuck it away, trying to like do all the toxic things, smoke it away. And instead of facing it and just saying, I've been hurt, I'll just get mad that you brought it up, or there's nothing to talk about, I want to keep it in the past, even though it's literally eating them alive every day.
Whenever I put my hand up like this and I start stuttering, it's bullshit coming out. But drinking and fucking, that's all fun,
absolutely.
I'm having a good time over here. Why are you fucking up my vibe, bro?
Are you having a great time? Because it seems like that's a hole you could never fill.
Oh, well, why do you say it's a hole I can never fill?
Because it seems like you never stop, and you've got a significant number of consequences you're completely overlooking. And as I said before, your wife said if you don't figure this out, she might leave.
But she's the one that's messed up, man. It ain't me.
I know. She's got her own issues. But also, if you don't change, she's going to leave you.
Well, why is everyone trying to change me? In America, we're all woke and everyone gets to be what they fuck they want to be, but I can't be who I want to be.
So you want to be a person who drinks and smokes and screws other women behind your wife's back, and just she should be okay with that.
Thank you.
That was good.
Thank you.
Definitely gonna be real.
Because that's how people play this shit, bro. And I've had it in my office because you deal with a little bit older population. I've had it in my office, Spence, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous, and all I see is a hurt boy. And I'm like, hey man, I ain't judging you because I've been that boy.
Right.
I've been that boy, and I've done the drinking, I've done the messing around, I've done the violence. I've been angry. I've been suicidal. I've been very homicidal. And I've been arrested for violence, but protecting people. But was it really protecting people? Or was it that I enjoyed it and I used it as an excuse to hurt others because I also wanted to die and thought I would? So this is how men of color handle these things, but we hide it with the drinking and the sex and masculinity. Love me some masculinity. Love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Love it. And a lot of us are hurt inside. And so, Jesus, you just hit it on the dot. That was it, Spence.
Yeah.
That was it.
Can I also say that a great album to check out that is talking about this is called Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
There you go. You went straight to Kendrick Lamar.
Yes. He did a fantastic job talking about how he cheated on his now wife with someone.
Well, the character in the song did. We don't know for sure that Kendrick Lamar is admitting to infidelity. Let's not speak on their marriage. But
fair enough.
He did. I mean, he's also evoking a lot of other vulnerabilities on these, and so he's tapping into something that might be a truism for himself. I won't ruin their marriage on wax like that.
Fair enough. But he talks about this and about how she tells him, "Hey, you need to go to therapy." And he tries. I'm not trying no fucking therapy.
Right.
Anybody who tries therapy, man, they ain't shit. Whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
And he goes through it and actually does therapy and finds out there's other traumas that have been layering throughout his life. And how that's affecting him, and how it's an amazing album. Go check it out. A lot of people talk shit on the album because it was talking a little bit more on the deeper topics personally. And in fact, it is an amazing album. And yeah, I would just say
I'm gonna have to check that out. Thank you, Spence. On the road trip, we'll play it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Through and through.
Highly recommended.
Yes.
Totally. But it's not light music. It is. I remember the first listen to. I was like, wait, this is not like just hang out and vibe music. This is this dude like putting paint on wax. So like,
it's a story. It's an actual story through and through, which some people cannot handle at certain times. Which hey, it's a conversation to have.
Right.
Here you go.
Yeah. All right. So next scene, we're gonna be talking about Adonis. Finds out from his, I believe it's his adoptive mom, that she concealed some letters from him, from Damien, while he was in prison, right? Because she saw it as a bad influence. Damien was having a bad influence on Adonis. And he gets, very frustrated at this. And then she also pulls out a picture of her, of Damien in the prison. With who was it?
His boy.
That's Dame. So to tell the story of what's happening in that scene earlier, Dame is a manipulative person, right? And so he has manipulated the situation to get himself a title fight. He essentially, I said it, I don't know if we were on record or not when I said it, but like Dame is a mirror version of Adonis, right? And he wants his shot. He wants to be the underdog who gets his shot. He's also like an anti-Rocky in a way, right? He is not humble in a way that Rocky is very humble, right? Rocky's constantly turning down, like, I don't want to be that big a deal. I just want to get my shot at a title. Dame is entitled to his shot at the title. He feels like he deserves it. And so he has now manipulated a situation. Ivan Drago from the previous movies, son of, Ivan Drago from the Rocky movies, shows up. He's expecting to fight Creed's talented fighter, Felix. That fight's already set up. Creed makes the mistake of telling Adonis how big a deal this is supposed to be. Adonis it makes a mistake of telling Dame how big a deal this is supposed to be. Dame essentially sweeps the rug from up under him by using his partner from jail to injure Drago so that Drago could not be ready in time for the fight, which pivots the entire movie and gives now Dame out of nowhere, jumps all the ranks to the very top after literally being out of jail for like 2 weeks, is now given the opportunity to get a title fight,
Never would
having
happen.
never boxed since he was like 19.
Never happened. Not
Yeah,
with the
the whole
promoters.
time. What are you talking about?
Never happened with promoters. these
Right.
days.
Just walks right into a title fight, and then essentially cheats his way to the top.
And so back to the scene is where, we see in this withholding the letters and the anger and hostility that he has for his mom. And means a lot. And he said, it's all your fucking fault. I wouldn't even be in this position. You just told me. Or if you would have just kept me as your son, but you gave me away. Right? You didn't bring me into the family. And so now I'm in this fucking group home because of you, getting my ass kicked because of you. I assume that's what he's thinking.
Yes. And in that is a lot of other layers, right? She's not his real mom.
Yep.
His real mom passed away. If you remember from the first movie,
correct.
He was the bastard son of Apollo Creed, right? And so imagine this lady took in her husband who's died's son he had with some other bitch. Like, what?
Yep.
Like,
hey, let's act like it ain't happened before though. This shit happened.
Hey, no, I mean it happens. I mean, hey, that's what the movie Fences was. But like, it's still like this big, like she just made you her son, brought you into this lavish home, and raised you because she felt like you needed a place and she needed a mission, essentially, right?
True.
And so you're mad at her, right? Like he's in this very immature place. He's not dealing with his feelings. He's not apologized for his feeling of guilt. I called this movie Survivor's Guilt a movie when I walked out of it.
It is.
Because it's very much like he feels guilt for having achieved and having gotten out of that environment when his friend had to go to jail and experience the consequences of poverty and not having emotional and financial support. And so he's aiming that at his mom instead of just admitting that guilt, instead of processing it.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I know getting them letters had been tough, man. And this is what you kept from me, my boy, my brother, the one that protected me and all these things. Doesn't matter if it was bad back in the day. He still protected me. You weren't protecting me.
Right.
And so I could see how angry he would be.
From his point of view.
Yeah, from his point of view. But I mean, his point of view is pretty accurate though.
There's a validity to it. But like, here's the thing. I'm a parent now. And so I am constantly having to do these gymnastics of, I know what I'm doing. You can't see it yet.
True.
You know what I mean? So now I was joking with my wife. We watched the movie Friday and I was like, oh crap, that scene where Craig is arguing with his dad about why we don't ever have, why don't we have milk and all that? Like, oh no, I'm the dad in this scene now. Like, why are you about to throw out all my cereal?
Yeah.
Like,
I
paid for that cereal. Get some water or just eat it as it is, right? Like, don't waste my food, right? So now that I'm a parent, I see this from the mom's point of view. I was trying to protect you from this person who is obviously bad for you, who has got himself into a series of circumstances that landed him in jail for 18 years, 16 where what he was he actually got, he did something in there that got him an additional 2 years. So I thought, this is a bad person for you, but I at least kept them so that if one day he ever did turn up, I could give them back to you and let you sort through it. And I thought that the turn of none of this would have happened if it wasn't for you. She said, you're right. But also I think she's saying the life I've given you also wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for me, right? Like that line has two different meanings.
Possibly. Yes, I agree. And possibly. Because we always like to play this what if.
Mm-hmm.
And, you never know. I used to play this with my father all the time. We're going to get into this in the next few scenes is, what if, though, we could have been this or that? He said, you probably would have been a piece of shit.
Yep.
And he said, let's be real. Because the things that I was doing and the things you would have been involved in, you've been dead or in jail just like I was. And I was like, but we could have been, but you don't know that, son.
Yep.
And so I, even with football and playing college football, and I'm going to do my Shane Gillis impersonation. I was strong.
There you go.
Strong. And magnificent athlete, very intelligent, very nasty and mean. And, I'm seeing all my boys keep going when I stopped because my father said, you have to get educated. But I'm like, they got a shot at the pros. I got a shot at the pros. I'm better than them. And it's always, I've played always what if. And then I played what if I could have had CTE too, though.
Yep.
But then again, I could have had money. But then again, I have money now. The what if game is fucking terrible to play.
Yep.
Terrible to play.
Yep.
So
you really mess yourself up. It's also, the what if game is also a failure to accept reality for what it is, right? And that's often what burns us up, is this idea that it could be different. Because I conceived it in my mind. I thought of how it could be different. It's not different.
No.
I'm in the situation I'm in, right? You're born with the dad you're born with who's laid down this particular law.
Yep.
And you could defy him if you wanted to go it alone, but there's something about that relationship that you wanted to keep intact that you were like, I'm gonna keep following this path, right? And yet we will fight reality to this point of distress, right? I'm totally messed up inside because I don't want to sit with this is the way it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And I could definitely say I had those moments in my life. And like
We
I
all
said,
have.
now that I'm a parent, I'm doing that. I'm actively doing that to 3 little people on a daily basis as I try to lay out a pathway for them and say,
Yep.
here's what I think you could be. And they're like, I don't know what I want to be at. Well, we'll figure out who wins in the end. And don't assume I don't know what I'm doing.
Someone give me my belt. I'm joking. That's not your family.
Hey,
No.
if we were talking 20 years ago, absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
But in 2024, that's a call to 2 for 1 kids.
oh,
Huh?
true. Yeah, my dad never had to. He just would talk to, and you'd be like, "Damn."
Yeah.
So-
My dad would talk and he had a belt. So I got to both ways.
Yeah, mine was that. Dad, you didn't need to. That's when you know you're terrifying. When you just talk to her and you just, yes, sir.
Mm.
Yep, I ain't going. I'll send you back to your mom. Well, shit, let me do everything you told me to do.
Yes, sir.
So this third scene is the fight scene, correct? When they're on the beach.
The beach scene. Yep.
Okay,
beach,
so
yes.
I'll let y'all Spence introduce this
Yeah,
because this is
please.
no
Dr.
Spence.
Hall.
Oh, you don't want to introduce it? Yeah, whoever.
I mean, hey, Dr. Hall, would you mind introducing the scene?
Sure. So Creed has had this conversation with his mom. She's provided him the evidence that Dame has betrayed him. And so he goes to confront Dame on the beach. And this is a great, it's once again a great, 2 people who just need to have a conversation cannot do it. They're instead going to rely on ego and brutality. And he even gets into a fight to have the conversation. It's the guy's in front of him. He punches him down. And then he's like, oh, so this is how you're going to play me? I'll put money up for you. And then Dame is like, I don't even need you. They have this really good full back and forth. And then what's great about it is, Dame's walking away and the insult from Creed 1 comes back. He calls him Baby Creed, which if we remember, that's what almost cost him in the very first movie. And he decides to come back and really stand up to him and gets himself sucker punched. And he says, help yourself up for once, I thought was a great line. Dame saying that to Creed, feeling like from his point of view, he hasn't seen any of Creed's struggle. He just believes how hard is it to watch someone live the life you lived? So how about you help yourself up for once? He doesn't know that Dame, was in these foster homes till his mom picked him up, that he did have to go through all this rage. He had to figure out a life for himself. He had literally went to Rocky and, worked his way to his title fight. All he knows is you got a lucky break I didn't get, and I'm angry at you for it. And then one of my favorite lines that I only heard in this third viewing was, as he leaves, he says aloha, which, colloquially is both hello and goodbye. I've now reintroduced you to the new version of me, which is not the friend you thought I was. And I'm also saying goodbye to the relationship we had before, because now I'm the title. So I don't even I don't need you anymore.
Well said. The most poignant thing that sticks out to me is a conversation I had with my father today. So we have these current convictions of the former president, Donald Trump. And so Pops was talking about this and that and all the policies and politics. And I said, we're making different points here, Pops. What I'm trying to say right now is he's a felon. And if he can run for president as a felon, then every felon should be able to vote, or we should strike on every fucking application for school or for jobs. Are you a felon? Did you commit any felonies or misdemeanors? And my father's like, I agree with that. Of course you agree with it. Because when you got out of prison, you can't get no fucking jobs. So he's like, but we should also know if people did any fraud or this, that. If I said, yeah, you still do your background checks, but certain things should be disqualified, not just everything you're disqualified from. I shouldn't be disqualified from getting my master's for something stupid that I did years ago where I was antagonized by a bunch of racist white boys. I shouldn't lose my ability of life because of that incident.
Right. You should be able to maybe get student loans, even though you was trafficking a small amount of marijuana 20 years ago when the laws about that were much harsher.
Correct.
For no other reason than that was considered a black people drug.
So, correct. And that plays into a lot of my dad's stuff too. Why was he sentenced for 80 fucking years? Where other people do horrific things and they get 2 and they get out. Right? What's the point of this? And so we were talking about, this felon thing, and I was talking about on threads too, a lot of folks crying right now. Hey, maybe it was all a conspiracy and he didn't do, or he did do some of the shit, but he shouldn't have been charged. Whatever, I don't care. Is people are crying right now, YT folks. But you're just finally starting to realize everything that black and brown boys been going through since day one with the justice system. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And so we talk about the lives given, or the lives that are rotting away in prison for no reason. Rotting away. A lot of them are working and making a ton of shit for like quarter an hour and creating, building buildings and fighting fires and shit in prison. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So
it's an industry.
And I was thinking about my pops, and I was thinking about my life, and I'm sure this will get to them too, and hopefully it does. I fucking hate this guy, and one day maybe we'll reconcile, but remember, I will always fucking hate you. And I can't wait until he sees this. My father's gonna be like, yes. I used to dream about hurting this fucking guy all the time as a kid, right? Because my father did some stuff to protect folks and do certain things, whatever. But a life given, and then this other guy gets to live a life and be a lawyer, and his kids are in the suburbs. And he said, I'll take care of your kids. Might have picked me up once or twice in like 8 years. Never really paid attention. I'm rotting away. And my brother's rotting away. And it's like interesting. Then we finally, Pops gets out, we make some money, this and that. And he does everything possible to make sure my father goes back to prison. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? I remember telling my father how much I hated him. He's like, no, man, you can't be like that. This is family. I said, Pops, why do you let people leech on you? Why do you keep giving and giving and giving? I don't understand. Cut them off. It's not what you do to family. You don't understand how I grew up then. I grew up very isolated and alone with a single mom. I'm like, fuck everybody. Very angry. So I identify more with him sitting in that cell, rotting away, plotting and planning my entire life to seek my vengeance, which is my title shot. Fast forward, now they call me Dr. Nas. And I remember when my uncle's kid, he just graduated with his doctorate as well, right? And I remember when I graduated, I texted him, I said, I beat you to it, bitch. My father said, why would you say that to him? It's between me and your uncle, not the kids. I fuck everybody. Because they all sat and watched as we rotted.
Yeah.
But then you claim to be the loving one, the giving one. My father's going to be like, Jesus Christ, you're going too far with this. But whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think people really understand what it's like. But you got these black and brown bodies literally rotting in the prison system. And so you think they're not plotting and planning? You think they're not like angry? Well, why are they so angry? We can't get no fucking jobs when we get out.
Right.
And so we're talking institutionalized. So now we're talking about the president being a felony. We're talking about white people can have a felony, get a good job. But you got black folks with bachelor's degrees can't get a job. And so what is up with this racial stuff in America? Not to mention, right, they're Arab, white passing, and I'm very brown, Mexican, and Arab. There's a difference between me and the other family members.
Yeah.
And so I think even in families, the colorism plays a thing. Socioeconomic status plays a thing. The way I speak and carry myself plays a thing compared to other people in my family. But that was one of my favorite moments when I was like, oh, I want you to beat Creed's ass. Even though Creed had nothing to do with it. My cousins had nothing to do with it.
Right.
But it's me being jealous and angry because I should have had that privileged life. I should have had the nice house.
Yeah.
And this is when I told you my father, we talk about what could have been. Because he had a shit ton of money and a lot of different things, a lot of houses, a lot of assets, owned his own bar, right? I mean, you got people coming to the bar like back in the day, Flavor Flav and like folks like that. Like this is big time shit my father was in. And then it goes to nothing. And you don't really know that as a kid, but then you grow up and you're like, holy fuck. What did I miss out on? This is interesting. Yeah. So, and that never really leaves you. And this is what I'm telling a lot of folks that sit with this. I think it's okay to still have that anger and volatility there. It just doesn't need to be the primary character. So we see the transition later on in the show where like they reconcile. We're going to get to it. Maybe that character takes a back seat and now you're starting to calm it with that boxing scene, right? That monster that's barking and that was me for way too long. That's why I picked that scene. That was me way too long fighting those inner demons, the anger. the visualization of like, oh, I can't wait to beat someone's ass.
Yeah.
So you talked about smoking and drinking and having sex. Mine was plotting and planning. What did Tupac say? My dad always drilled into me because he also trained me to be a soldier. Get my weight up with my hate up, pay him back when I'm bigger. So I literally, that was like the lyric for my fucking life. I grew up very different, Spence. It was very militant all the time. Like, this is how you win, which only fostered more anger, where Pops was like, I'm just trying to teach you to win. I'm like, you don't understand. You're creating a fucking monster here.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about all these different things, and I spent some time on the soapbox because there's millions of people that feel like this.
Oh, absolutely.
You got black and brown folks that just live impoverished, even some that are fluent. You got LeBron still getting the N-word spray painted on his fucking house. And you're like, why can't I have it easy?
Right.
And then we talk
why can't
about,
I just have it fair? It doesn't have to be easy, just fair.
So that's why I wanted to talk about. I wanted to say some stuff on there. They're like, oh, these stories aren't real. No, this shit is real. And it happened to the person that leads one of the co-hosts of this fucking podcast.
Yeah.
And I still was able to, unwind some stuff, but a lot of love, a lot of care, a lot of nurturing too with my father after he backed away from some of the people and he listened to me like, I hate them. And Pops was like, well, I hate them too. I'm like, so why do we talk to them? It was interesting. Family. You looking at my family, Rich, it's this piece of shit right here named Spencer.
There you go. Spencer didn't know he was catching that stray.
He was catching
like, what the fuck?
That's the only, my friends are my family. They're the ones at graduation will be the ones at everything. The family's always been interesting. So you said you want a fair shake. Sometimes your shit ain't fair. And you grow up like him, just barking, huffing and puffing. And so that's why I fucking love this movie, because I identified with him, not Creed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, this is my guy. Fuck him. Take the title.
Right.
Yeah. He won. That's right.
Living all up in the hill, all nice.
Yeah. And then the last scene where he's like, he just sits there pouting. We're going to get to it. I'm like, damn, brother. Beat his ass in there too.
It's called the movie Damien now.
Yeah, hell yeah.
There was a moment before Jonathan Major's problems. There was a moment where they talked about it as if he was going to get his own shot at some additional movies, but
yeah, we'll see.
And once again, his whatever demons he's dealing with probably might have torpedoed that.
Yeah. He said white women. So that's why I chose that scene. Right. I had to do that scene. So as we pivot now, the next scene is yours. The next, the next two scenes I think are some of the most pivotal scenes in the entire fucking movie. That's the real healing that we need to get into.
Right. Oh yeah. So right after the beach scene is Creed and Bianca having their moment where she tries to get him to talk, and rather than talk, he lashes out, and it's in the past. I don't need to talk about it. Essentially, the idea of bringing it to the forefront will just cause more pain, even though at this point, up until the movie, the pain that has been caused is because of his inability to let people know what he really is experiencing, right? That guilt that he's not processed, that pain that he's not processed. And he essentially shuts her out. That was the following scene, right? That's
yes, perfect.
Creed and Bianca.
So I'm gonna go back to Spence. Right, these two scenes, you can do your questions and provoking with the rest of the scenes.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, why is it so hard to open up to anybody, really, especially when we're having this just deep trauma? Like, why is it so hard for people to do that, especially young black men? Why is it so hard to do?
For men, it's often because, what do we do with men? I mean, I think Dr. Nas was just saying, we train men to be soldiers, to dive into holes and whatnot, and do the dirty jobs. And guess what we don't have room for? Crying or vulnerability. So when men are very small, they are not given the same nurturance or openness. Nobody stops and asks, how are you feeling today? You good? It's, walk it off. Don't cry. It's, and I even say this as a parent myself. I was raised by a dad who was also in the military. He he would never let me cry. And I was a very sensitive, I chose this job in part because I'm a very sensitive, empathic person. And so when I remember seeing my middle son cry about something when he was a little bigger than a baby. And I had a visceral fear inside. What happens if I let him do this in the world? Now I had to deal with that in the moment, but like, I recognized that it had been trained into me and I had to like tell my brain to not train it into him, to like, how do I comfort him and make sure he doesn't feel those feelings I felt around crying, around vulnerability. And so there is so much messaging that little boys get, that vulnerability is dangerous, that you should not cry, that there's no room for that, that there will not be comfort for you. And by virtue of that, you just get a whole generations, multiple of men who just terrified by the idea of letting these feelings out. I often hear it in my office. If I even let a little bit of it out, I'll lose control. And it's like, will you just cry for a while? Feel a little better because you cried it out and then be able to move on.
But then people gonna think I'm soft, or people gonna think I'm a bitch.
Or will you think you're a bitch?
And what does that even mean? What does that even mean? And why are you feminizing something of you just being in deep pain? But that's what they will say. That's what all my boys have said.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what they all say. I ain't no punk, man. I didn't say you was a punk. But you sitting here crying, and it looks like we need to just sit here.
Right.
It was interesting. I was with a client, man of color, and some really horrible stuff happened academically. And so they broke down. Never seen him cry like this. And they looked at me like, I could see the shame. I could see him. Hey, man, you cried in front of me before. You know who I am. You've seen me cry in speeches. So why are you ashamed? So even with someone that I knew, because they did that deep, one of those ugly cries, they were like, oh man. I said, oh, we still got some stuff to work on, some masculinity stuff, but let's first make sure we keep you in school. And then we need to get back to.
Let's solve that problem first and then give you space to feel these things out loud sometimes. And
then we're going to get back to this other thing, because I've seen it. I've seen it in your eyes, kid. The fear. You never scanned and looked at me before until now. Spencer, I don't know what it is, man. We just never gonna be able to do it. I think also when we do it, a lot of people betray us. Spencer, we just did a podcast on Gen V when she tells her about her eating disorder, and then she goes spreads the news everywhere. But people will hold it against us.
Yeah,
I feel like with men, that's why you crazy, or right? They'll hold it, and we're terrified.
Yeah, and so I'll never do it again. Never share my feelings again.
Yep.
And they pass it along. Keep on passing along. Hey, I was told I can't be emotional, then I'm just gonna keep that going.
Yeah.
You can't be emotional either.
Dude, I would be in my hyperphantasic moments of just visualizing and repping and visualizing and full on just sobbing at nights. And then, that'd be good. The next day I go out, you put on your people face and your people suit and whatever, and you just go do your fucking thing. And then you go back to the visualizations of the trauma that you just left for the life that was taken for yours. And then you just wait and you wait, but it festers. And it festers. And then it comes out in the wrong ways. And so you see it in this scene, very good visualization of him blowing up on his girl, his partner, his wife, his baby mama, all of it. And you're like, what did you just do?
Right.
What did you just do? I've done that. And then his daughters look at him like,
yeah.
And that moment's when people change, or they double down in the shame, and they double down.
Right.
They do more drinking because now they feel like shit. And Spence, we just talked about this in Gen V. That's when they do more of the eating related disorders, and they do more of the self-harm because now I'm worthless.
Right. Right. And I just proved it. And I'm reminded of it every time I think about, and rather than confront it, rather than do the hard thing that's going to be very uncomfortable and avoid these behaviors, I pacify myself through avoidance, through maladaptive coping.
And this is the only person that'll probably ever listen to you and love you as your partner. Her. She's a badass in this movie.
Yeah.
She's held you at so many moments, and then this is what you do. You shut her out in this. But maybe he's like, me and you, well, not Spence, because he's not the best with hyperphantasia. But like he's like me when you got to relive that trauma when you tell that story. And with me, I'm walking through it like a movie. So technically it's happening again. So to go through that abuse and to tell her, it's too much. And then there's the shame of his boy dying for his sins. I don't want to talk about this shit anymore.
Right.
I've never felt that. That was a fucking scene there, boy. Yep. I've
Yeah.
seen my father say that too. We're not talking about this anymore.
Right.
Because it's too far down that trauma spike.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we got to be led into these conversations, Spence.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes women can do it, right? They can.
Sometimes.
But men can do it. If we can do it as men, heal each other,
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, it's much more effective, much more potent, much more efficable.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
and I can tell you how many men I've seen
Go ahead.
completely torpedo relationships because they double down instead. Rather than actually stop and deal with this, it's I'm gonna go out and get drunk and come home drunk tonight because she made me feel bad because she tried to get me to talk about this. So this is somehow her fault, right? I'm gonna be mean for the next 24 hours just because she brought it up, right? And I, like I said, I've seen too many men in my office who can't just stop and go. But if you say that, if we just say the thing out loud and get through it together, we can get you somewhere where you're not just reliving this trauma every time it comes to mind.
Well, what about you when men are in your office and then they finally break in front of you, or the men they don't break, but then you get them to help them to break. By break, I mean break down and like cry, be emotional, vulnerable.
Yeah.
Are those awesome moments for you? Good moments? Are they scared?
Oh, absolutely.
Are they happy? Do they feel better that they did it? How's it go down? I don't know.
We get to better, but they'll often say, "This makes me feel worse," and it's like, no, because you're rehashing bad feelings. But like, let's just sit with it for a second and let's see if you don't feel better. If we can't retell the story in a different way, look at the different angles, right? Try to sort of think through the parts that you know and the parts that you probably can't see because the emotions have clouded you. And it ends up being kind of magnificent. It's very cathartic to let them, have the good cry. And then on the other side of it, you're still in control. You did not lose everything because you let this beast out of the cage for 30 minutes in this safe space. So that's often, those are great days. Hard to get to sometimes. Sometimes it's picking away. I know it's in there and I just got to wait. I was trying to explain this to a younger clinician. I was like, very often, 2 sessions in, oh, this is the work we need to do, but it's going to take me 6 weeks to even get this guy to understand the emotional language he needs to even try a quarter of this work.
Spence, that right there is it. I've never had necessarily those words, but sometimes I know within real quick, I'm doing the algorithm. I'm like, oh, no, ding, 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 ding. This is where we need to go. But I'm like, oh, it's going to take time.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, it takes longer than what you think. But then we go back with clients. Why did it take 6 sessions? Does it always take 6 times to meet someone? Or is there certain cues? Was it only, or sometimes, why has it only been me that knows? So I'm like, what is it between, because the relationship, what is it about me that allowed you? Is it just the law that's involved? Or no, it's because I'm not judging and swearing. Is it because I'm kind, compassionate, because I'm big and brown? What is it? What finally allowed you? I never told anyone about this, Nas. And whenever someone tells me that, I know exactly where it's going. Trigger warning: deep physical violence or deep sexual violence. And people are like, "Oh, well, men don't go through it." Okay, tell that shit to someone else.
Yeah, right. They absolutely do.
Tell that to someone else.
They try to bury it.
I got a lot of men that have been through some SA stuff. And every time they say, Nas, I ain't never told no one this, I'm like, damn.
We're going there.
Let me take a deep breath. Let me regulate my stuff because I didn't think we were going there. Let's do the work. Come on. Good scene, but terrifying on how he treated her. Gives me the heebie-jeebies to know that I used to be like that. Sometimes, we do that. Since we're out surrounded by hatred or anger, then it just comes out. It just comes out.
Yeah. You don't know any other way until you learn another way.
That's it. And it usually takes us someone to show us the other way.
Yep.
But we can't wait for our woman to do it there all the time and love us all the time. We need to start doing it ourselves.
Yep.
All right. So what we got next? We got the
we was talking about his time at the group home and what actually led to Damien going to prison.
Yes. Right? He finally reveals what led to Damien going to prison. The idea that they ran into Leon, that this happened at the very beginning of the movie. We saw like a part of it before it cut off. They ran into Leon. He started fighting Leon. Some other guys show up. beat up Adonis. Dame pulls a gun on the guys, and then the police immediately show up, arrest Dame. Or no, they both try to run.
Yep.
And then Dame gets arrested. Adonis doesn't. And Adonis carries that guilt of leaving his friend behind, even though they are both children when this happens. And adult me is like, oh man, you couldn't have what was this 20 years ago? Like you didn't have long distance. You can't accept collect calls at your mom's house. Like there's barriers in the way of you connecting with. I mean, before the internet, if a person moved to the next town, you don't speak to them again, right? Like we think now that you have so much access to people, but in this situation, Dame is super angry because he feels he had his life stolen from him, and Adonis feels all this guilt because he felt like he should have done more to protect his friend or to help his friend who protected him at very bad parts of his life, right? Yeah. And that trauma that he had never talked about is now on the table. And he says some really interesting things there. This assumption he had that Bianca's better at emotions, and Bianca's like, no, I'm just trying. I know every moment is just an attempt at trying to be a better person. Rather than doing what he's been doing, which is walling it off and hoping it doesn't blow up on him. And then she does the line that I think is literally like a good thesis for the thing is you have to forgive yourself and begin to believe that you deserve the life that you earn. Which great work by Tessa Thompson, great work by the writers.
Yeah.
That's a really good thesis.
It is. It's a story. I had this boy, Spencer, and you never heard about this dude, but we was best friends out in Lansing, Sexton, the school's called, and all black school, and we got really close with this one dude. It was pretty much just me, this black dude, and loved him, loved his brother, loved his mom. Definitely all autistic as shit because I realized everyone in my life was autistic as shit. Besides the point.
The people you gravitate towards tend to be.
Oh, wait, I have to. And so I end up transferring out because we ran out of money. Stuff happened in Lansing. So we go back to Saginaw. He trains with me during the summer, blah, blah, blah. That's when Colin gets to meet him. We get in trouble breaking into the gym. Almost all get arrested. Of course, we break into a gym. And so my dad tried to like pretty much adopt the kid and like bring him to Saginaw. We're going to play football together. We're going to go to college together. Going to go to the pros together. That's how good me and him were together as a team. He goes to college. I go to college. He goes to a school called Olivet. He gets in the trouble with the wrong kids. Next thing you know, armed robbery. Armed robbery with a pistol, and it hurt some people, older people, defenseless people. Not him, but that's who he was driving for and riding for. He goes to prison for it, and that was horrible. Like he would never hurt anyone. Skip, come on, man. He never swear. He didn't even talk. And now he's a getaway driver and beating up old white ladies. Come on, man. But I could see it changing when I went to the college to come see him and hang out with him. And I would be funny and goofy like I am. And you could see the light dwindling. I'm like, what's going on, dude? Why are you different? Why are you different? I've known you for years now. We've been through everything together. And so it was pretty fucked up. And then fast forward, right? He got out, did his little time. And now he's doing good, got a good job, got a wonderful wife, got these two beautiful daughters. They're magnificent. They're gorgeous. But bro, that pain knowing that if he would have went with us, right, come with us, then maybe we could have saved him. So there's that survivor's guilt, that remorse. Like, I'm like, fuck, man, that could have been me, or I feel bad because he should, you feel guilt. Maybe we should have tried to get him with us more, but he had his choices. The thing, maybe you don't really have your choices sometimes because he's at an all-white school, and I don't know. Life is so fucked up. I'm telling you, life is down to just chances.
Yeah. No, really. And I think that also speaks to one of the frustrations I had. So I worked for Miami University for 8 years, and one of the struggles that I had, particularly with young Black people, we do all this, talk to them about go to college, but we don't prepare them for the idea that environment is not built for people who aren't upper middle class and above white kids. Like they made that as a playground for them to give them more time before they enter the workforce. And so Black kids show up and they're like, oh, I thought we were supposed to just be going to class, and like the teachers aren't really like receptive, and like they're just struggling in this cultural environment that is not built with them in mind. And then they just kind of like fall through the cracks until they eventually like peter out. And so you get a kid, I don't know your friend, but like he wasn't culturally built for this environment. He just wanted to play ball and do and get something out of life. And there's nobody there that says, this is where you're supposed to be. This is how you get there. Like there's no one there to lead them.
No.
And to provide them the support they need, particularly in this environment that's often like caustic. Like it's like walking on thorns every day to be there because they're just treating you weird.
Yep.
And they're just not nice to you, or they are nice but not kind, right? They're polite,
yep,
but not kind. And so, you know, I saw so many kids struggle in these environments where it's a, you know, Miami calls itself a public Ivy. It thinks so highly of itself.
Yep.
And it's not a bad school, but it's also not built for minority students. It's built for the students who pay full freight and can be in all the fraternities and wear Abercrombie and Fitch and all the, you know, the collared shirts and the right shoes and all that. And they're actually kind of proud of that because it keeps them going.
Bougie.
But there are all these students who fall out, who drop out because they just can't. How do they afford to be there? How do they afford to eat every day? How do they afford, or how do they even learn the rules of this environment that isn't going to tell them outright, but will definitely slap them on the wrist or on the hand when they get it wrong?
Yep. And it was interesting because back then, right, I'm the brains, and he was the guy that kept me in check and stopped being stupid, but also he was the athlete that kept pushing me to be a better athlete. And we were supposed to go to college together. And then I went to college, and then, you know, I failed out all my fucking classes, so I stopped playing ball. And I was drinking with all these other white folks and shit like that. It never would have happened if Skip was there. No, we never would have been like me and Spence. We just would have been eating, lifting, and playing ball. That's it.
There you go.
And we both went on a different path, and life took its course, and we all bounced back. But still, it could have been so much easier, so much more fair, like you said earlier.
Been harder. You don't know. I mean, for real, you don't know.
It could have been worse. You never know.
All the money, all the fame you wanted, but then what else? Then you're empty inside. Maybe you don't have a connection with anybody.
Who knows?
It's all the great things of what ifs.
What ifs? Who knows? Maybe me and him would have gotten to some shit there in Detroit at Wayne State. Maybe we got
there you go
and shot in Detroit. I don't know.
You never know.
It was interesting. Life is always interesting. I always feel like what's that guy from The Matrix? The white guy. Interesting.
Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith. That's
Mr. Smith.
The inner dialogue in my head. Interesting.
Yeah.
Mr.
Anderson.
So again, magnificent scene. I assume you picked that because he just fully expresses himself.
Yes.
Which is the
he needed
pinnacle.
to strip his ego away. Yeah. To actually like say who he was out loud and what he had been through, and to let his wife in. And as I said before, you know, in the narrative of the film, if he doesn't do that, he runs the risk of going the route of Dane, who does not have support, who does not have real connection. But he has the benefit of that, right? There's this subtle scene earlier that we didn't go over where they are together, and Dame picks up this particular whiskey, and of course the whiskey bottles aimed towards us because of product placement capitalism. Otherwise, they don't get to make the movie. So Hennessy, hey, thank you for sponsoring this movie. So
why black people love Hennessy? Why black people love Hennessy?
Since 19.
because they sold it to us because we weren't allowed to drink clear liquors because racism.
Oh damn!
Learn something
every day.
Very often.
Bring me that dirty flavored ass whiskey, motherfucker.
Right. Everybody wants it. Shit.
Yeah, everyone wants it.
Right.
Bring me that unfiltered shit. Jesus.
Right. Hennessy advertised to them. More. But there's a subtle scene where Adonis pulls out coasters for like he has the tooth, and then Adonis says, "Oh, we're putting these on coasters because I live with a woman and I can't get away with water rings on my countertops." And these are also very expensive countertops, sir. So I often see like Dame does not have community. He gets it when he's on top, but we all know like that's just the people who flock to you because you're the title winner. But Adonis does, and so Adonis has to open himself up to that community, right? He's mourning the loss of his mother. He's actually taking this time in that loss to actually open up. And if he had closed himself off, he would have made the same mistake that Dame was making and not sharing who he was.
Would have lost everything.
Yep.
Everything. Money, fame, house, the biggest thing. You know, the relationship is probably the biggest thing, but to me, the most important thing is your child. You would have lost your child. And after that, I don't even see the meaning of fucking life. You just lost everything.
Right. Right.
So that was a really good moment. Hopefully other men, if fucking Adonis Creed can do it, you can fucking cry in therapy, asshole. So
Yep.
Yeah.
You piece of shit. Cry. All right.
Is that what you do in therapy? Cry, goddammit, do it.
Cry, you motherfucker.
You black son of a bitch. Oh, he's like, yeah.
Hey, maybe.
So this boxing scene I picked, and quickly I'll just go over that so we can get into the last scene.
Yep.
I picked it for strictly the metaphor of the duality of what people hold inside. It could be their mental illness, could be their depression, could be their rage, it could be their trauma. It's in there kicking their ass. As Dr. Hall said, you know, we've got these things that we're talking to and dealing with, and it's animated, it's monstrous. We look at anime for this thing, but that's how it is in life. And we're talking about chess, boxing being a chess match, you said. But that in actuality is just our brains.
Mm-hmm.
We're always in this chess match of automatic negative thoughts and I'm a piece of shit, or I did good, or validating like, hey, I can do this, and ego and self-esteem. It's always a chess match. And so you're in there fighting and counterpunching.
Yeah.
You're counterpunching. And then you put me in there, the therapist now. So I'm like, Duke. Shout out to Duke being, I fucking loved him in almost every single movie I've ever seen. He's always a side character, a couple big time roles, but his coach is in there. Come on, man, you got this. And you're coaching him up. And
he's also Avon Barksdale, one of the greatest TV shows, The Wire.
Yep.
That's also Avon Barksdale.
There you go.
The affirmations.
And I always picture myself as that coach. But sometimes I'm actually the boxer and the opponent in there with my client. Because they'll swing at me. I'm okay. I'm still fat, but
we're doing this.
I'll dodge, motherfucker. I'm gonna get you.
Right. Hey, don't let the smooth voice fool you.
Hey, don't make me go Pernell Whitaker on your ass. For those of you who know boxing, I will sweet pea the shit out of you and counterpunch you. And I often think about therapy like that. It's always me counterpunching, and my dad's like, "You love this shit, don't you?" And I said, "I love it because I'm just waiting you out." Because I got a devil in me too. And I told a client, I said, I would have been a hell of a con man and fucking sociopath, man. But I'm using it for good every day. And so I'll wait you out and I'll wait you out. And I'm like, oh, I got you now, you son of a bitch.
Right. Just waiting. I saw the move for that uppercut. Moment came.
So tell me, what are you feeling? What is the moment like for you right now in those emotions? What are you sitting with? And that's when you hit them with that deep, somber voice. And they're just like, And
that's the 10 count.
And
right. Yeah. I love a good wait. You just brushed past that. Let's stop here for a second, because that sounds like it was a lot. Like, wait, let's sit with that feeling.
I love that. Or my favorite is when you see it. You see the tremor or the little twitch in their lip or their nose, or you see a little glisten in their eye. And you're like, hey man, a second ago, were you tearing up? Like, let's pause real quick. What's going on? I'll actually stutter, even though I don't need to stutter, because I like to make it more dramatic. And I'm like, whoa,
yeah, there you go.
What's going on?
You play the organ, you play your instrument.
Oh, I play my instrument, right? I'm like being real subtle with it, but I'm like, just tell me, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. Right. Internally, come on. Let's do it.
Let's do it. We're right here. I just need you to. And so I'm glad you know the same thing as a seasoned therapist, that it's right there. So do you ever feel like a boxer in an arena with your client? Not necessarily the opponent, but like you are there counterpunching and reacting.
Yeah. I would probably say I get the chess metaphor more than boxing, but I have joked with my wife, like I love a good opportunity to hit somebody in the face with the truth. You know what I mean? Like they don't see it coming, then bang, and now, you're gonna cry about that. Like if you don't do it now, you're gonna do it in the car.
Yep.
So, he gonna cry in the car.
Wait a minute.
Gonna cry in the car.
Wait a minute. What movie was that from? That's from Friday.
That's Friday. He gonna cry in the car.
Hey man, he gonna cry in the car.
Hey man, you gotta knock the fuck out, man.
Right.
Damn, are you Debo in this situation?
I know. Who are you? Wait a minute.
I have Debo'd a few clients. I have just, that's my bike, punk. That's my negative affirmation. Take this positive affirmation. Yeah. Get out of here.
I love you, motherfucker.
Better watch them bricks.
Oh my God.
Hey.
Motherfuckers, Debo, dirty ass draws. I know you got some dirty draws, you motherfucker. That's some dirty. I know mine are.
Hey.
Pivot.
Everybody has a shitty day.
He's so subtle with his jokes, right? He's
I
just,
know. It's so great.
see, tell me he's not a good Sweet Pea Pernell Whitaker or not a good Floyd Mayweather, right? It's not a lot of power in there, but you,
Like,
you're not going to Mike
great
Tyson me
record.
with a joke, but you're going to get it in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I go under. You
Yep.
not see it coming.
Yep, you're gonna get the judge's decision every time. With me, I'm like I'm not gonna say Tyson because no one's like Tyson. I'm like homeboy. They just got knocked the fuck out yesterday.
Fury?
Well,
Wilder.
Fury got beat too. Wilder, the Bronze Bomber.
Mhm.
I'm looking for that one punch.
Mm-hmm. That one good opening.
That
You're
one.
just going for the knockout. You're not going for any decision.
No.
You're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take your head off.
Because
Right.
right, Deontay Wilder, he'll just wait. It's not even a counter punch. He's just like fist. I love a good fisting.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
Yeah, no, I tend to play more subtle.
You do.
I see my openings.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And the clients never see it coming either. And you never know if am I telling a joke or am I doing a bit? You don't know.
am I doing a bit or am I really trying to get you to cry?
Right. right. And that's pretty much in my personal life too. This is a shade of who I really am.
Oh, 100%. Right. I mean, technically, we're doing it for our people. So I'm doing this to better all black and brown people. So I need you to cry.
Right. right. I'm saving you. I'm saving the community.
Yeah, I'm saving
You're crying for your people right now.
Right.
Right?
Right. You're crying for everyone.
You're crying.
That's
for
a cause that you can really go for.
You got a tear for Harriet Tubman for me?
Oh my.
Harry,
Wait. Oh shit.
This is for everyone.
He passed out.
Ah.
He knocked him out.
There you go. Subtle.
He's down. He's
Didn't see it
down.
coming.
Floyd, stop it.
I felt like Simba. Dad.
He's down. He's dead.
Jesus. I felt like
Poor Mufasa.
shout out to
Everything the light touches.
Juan Mikel. What was it called? Juan Mikel? The guy who knocked out fucking Manny Pacquiao in the third fight. I can't believe I just forgot his name. I don't know. He knocked the fuck out of him. I was like, yes. Besides the point. Shout out to Mexican boxers.
Shout out to all the men.
Think of
Canelo.
All of them.
Well, not Canelo.
Whatever. Okay, never mind.
We don't
Shit.
claim him. I'm joking.
All right, I'm just
completely
saying.
joking. Everyone claims him. I was just a Triple G fan. So last scene, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah.
Reconciliation.
Reconciliation. The ability to just stop and go, hey, I'm sorry. But and as we said, the movie wouldn't have existed if they could have just apologized 2 hours ago. They could just be like, oh, hey, good to see you standing on my car. I'm really sorry about what happened, man. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. But because they couldn't do that, they had to punch each other for 12 rounds. Because often black men have to punch each other a bunch and only hug as fighting in order to
You only
get
hug
the
after the
emotions.
fight. You never hug.
No, they
before.
hug in the fight. They do the thing where they lock up on each other. That was, that contact felt better for them. It felt more natural to contact with each other like that and fist to the face than to just say, hey man, can we just hug it out and let you know how sorry I am.
love one of those good fight struggle cuddles, with you,
Yeah.
As a, I loved it in football. I'm like, hey man, now stop fucking around. I'm like, you ain't getting away from me, boy.
Oh my god.
They've been like, Nas is on top of the pile, just licking people again. I was like, shut up.
How are you licking people with the helmet on?
I was getting in there.
You found a way.
I found a way. Oh, it was good times. I love
It
football.
might have also been assault. I won't judge you.
It's a little bit of everything, really.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
We all signed a contract playing football. Whatever happens on there, you got to come.
Who signed that? Who signed
I signed
I
something.
don't know that anyone.
I don't know.
Why are you giving that out? I don't know.
We signed something. I don't know what we
The
did.
lawyer reviewed that document. I don't know if it was.
I don't know.
Probably just for like Girl Scout cookies. You're just like, this says right here. I can do whatever I want.
I was known as definitely the psychopath in high school football.
What?
Yeah.
It was a little on brand. I've only known you for 2 hours now.
Yeah, it's pretty
I've
intense.
learned
I
a lot.
remember one time crying during the national anthem and like full on Marshawn Moreno, and my running back's like, bro, you good? I'm like, I'm about to kill somebody. What are you talking about?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And that
Okay. Those are tears of joy.
tears of like, my father trained me to kill someone.
There you go.
And,
Okay.
and hey, that running back now was the DEI director at the Indianapolis Cult and is now the vice president and liaison to Indiana University. So like, you know, hey,
Nice.
yeah.
Hey,
Brian did something.
Yeah, I let him know.
And he had-
Like, this is masculinity, Brian. This is what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like,
He
no,
was not a mandated reporter, obviously.
no, he was terrified though. So reconciliation,
Seems rightfully so.
rightfully so. I'm a therapist now.
I'm a doctor.
I'm a doctor. You know, Dr. Kevorkian.
Hey,
All right.
Also a doctor.
Yeah.
Reconciliation.
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 So-
Yes. Two men being able to say I'm sorry
Hey,
without punching each other.
Never
or at least
happens.
after punching each
Or
other.
at
Hey.
least afterwards.
It happens so rarely.
so rarely, dude.
And it's a really good example of how much trouble you would save if you just said sorry and just like told people how you really felt and just acknowledge like, okay, now that I've been punched in the face a bunch, I realize we were just children who maybe had a lot of feelings we didn't address.
How magnificent was that scene though? He was like, hey man, I'm sorry that, and you know, that's on me. And he's like, no, man, we just kids. That ain't on neither one of us. And that's true.
Yeah.
The society beat you to death. The group home beat you to death. You know, drugs and the environment, poverty beat you to death, and it stripped you of your prison, stripped you of your humanity. They ain't got nothing to do with you. You was born innocent, homie. And they get that moment. They dap each other up. And homeboy's sitting there like still pouting. But remember, he's also in a locker room with no one in it now.
Yep.
All the people left, like you said, they're all gone. And his brother shows up and, hey, man, I still love you.
Yep.
And he says, if you need me, you know where I'm at. And he goes, so.
Which goes back to that previous statement where he says, I don't need you, right? But he's still saying, he's still extending the hand out, even though you literally punched me when I did that on the beach. I'm still here if you need me.
I've talked about in the pod before, all the fights I've been in, there was only one person to extend a hand, and that's when I decided to change and get therapy. He said, I don't know what's wrong with you, Nas, but I'm here if you need me. And I was like, I was so fucking mad.
How dare you? How dare he?
And then
How fucking dare
I changed the next day. I stopped. That was it. That was the last time I've touched anyone and gotten in any fight or any physical violence. And so reconciliation's a son of a bitch. When someone shows you love, when you show them the monster, the Baba Yaga, right? The Chupacabra, and they still show you, and you're like, Jesus Christ, why? I'm just going to hurt this person again? No good person will do that again.
Yeah.
Because they know they
No
can't
person with a capacity for self-reflection. Yeah.
Correct. I'm glad you changed it. Wonderful moment between two men. I think it doesn't matter what gender you are, though. This is it. This is how you do it. You just got to sit there and be like, damn, man, I fucked up.
Yep.
I fucked up. And then both of you will just come to agreement and a bond. And then you continue on with the mutual love and respect. I told Spence,
I will say,
go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You do have to change, right? And it's as your story illuminated. You can't just. A lot of times with men, we'll just say, "I'm sorry" because we need this conversation to be over. Like she's been talking for a while now, and I just need her to shut up about it. So yeah, I'm sorry. I won't do it again. But we have to like the next day get on the active train of not doing it again. What do I really need to do to get better?
Mine was I don't want to hurt anyone because I was hurt. So why would I?
Right.
Why would I want to be my abuser?
Why would I replicate that pain out there?
I'm not doing this. It's not who I am. I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
So let me figure out who that monster is and let me talk to him and help him. I ain't going to beat that monster's ass in the boxing ring. We're not fighting that monster to put it into submission. Now we need to like, all right, let's outbox it. Let's get it to relax and calm down. Let's talk to it. And let's like, hey man, you serve a purpose. You don't need to be the main character anymore.
Right.
I'm glad you picked it. I'm glad we met you because I just shot my shot and I was like, hey man, you know, it looked like I was like, this is a black man. That's it.
Yeah, sure. And I'm just
diversity.
Yep.
I'm just down enough to be like, oh, I'll do that. I like doing these things.
For
These
real.
are fun.
So now I can just, I'm just going to focus on white women now. We did the one black guy for the
There
year.
you go.
We're done.
You got it out the way.
We got it out the way.
February came early.
Like any good university representative, you got your diversity out of the way in February, and then you just
No, he didn't just go there. Tell me that shit's not true though.
I got paid, man. I got paid. It was a long time in the trenches
Hey,
of
hey,
university.
but on a real level, you have been fantastic, and this is a great pod, and we actually would love to have you back again.
Oh, I'd love to do it again. It's been fun.
Oh no, we're having you back, or I'm gonna beat your ass. So.
Oh, okay. And I believe you because I've learned a
Oh.
lot about Dr. Nas, and I know he's got some anger in there.
He's
No,
still got it.
just as long
It's
as
gone, but
hey,
it's in quantities.
Right.
as long as don't no one hurt you, don't hurt no one I love. We good, So
Yeah, I should be good. I try not to hurt people.
yeah, you'll be good. You'll be good. I don't know. It sound like you were beating your kids early, but that's a different story. For
No,
them.
I specifically said I don't. I am a mandated reporter. I know you are a mandated reporter, and I specifically said
I ain't no snitch. I ain't reporting shit.
I ain't no snitch, but
All right, you're right. He didn't say that. I just want to be clear that way he doesn't get in trouble. He didn't say anything.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, thank you once again, Dr. Hall, for coming on. We really appreciate it. And yeah, it's been fantastic getting to know you. And any plugs before we go?
Yes. So you can check me out. I got some old episodes of my podcast, Psychologize You. It is available on all the places where you can find podcasts. I talk about mental health topics with fellow mental health professionals. And there's some new episodes that need to drop once I sit down and do the editing thing, but that's always the hard part. If you are in the state of Ohio or some of the SciPac states, I am a therapist. My website is psychworksllc.com, where you can get on my wait list if you're interested in seeing a person like me. There is a 2-month wait.
I saw you had a wait
one
list.
person.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just one person, and I can only see so many clients in a week, and everybody wants to be seen at 5, 6, or 7 evenings, and I can't do that. I have kids. I got to go home at a certain point. So if you could be seen during the day, it's very likely you can get in earlier than that 2 months.
Yep.
But yes, so on my website, PsychWorks LLC, or psychologizeyou.com, where you can find the podcast, or on wherever you listen to podcasts, where you can find me out in the world.
Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I'm Spencer. That's Nas. Give us a special podcast.
All right, everyone. Much love, and remember, take care of yourselves.
Or don't.
It's completely up to you. Peace. I did it right.